Welcome to the Sheckler Spotlight, where creativity meets purpose and conversation goes deeper. Join host Harrison Sheckler as he sits down with inspiring guests from all walks of life, artists, thinkers, musicians, and everyday heroes, to explore the stories that shape us, uplift us, and connect us. Now here's your host, Harrison Sheckler.
Hi, I'm your host, Harrison Sheckler. Today, I'm honored to be joined by former Major League Baseball player Scooter Gennett. Born Ryan Joseph Gennett in Cincinnati, Ohio, Scooter grew up a Reds fan and eventually turned that childhood dream into a big league reality. He was drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 16th round of the 2009 MLB Draft and made his MLB debut with them in 2013. In 2017, Scooter etched his name into baseball history, becoming the 17th player ever in MLB history to hit 4 home runs in a single game, including a grand slam and a career-high 10 RBIs in that unforgettable performance. He went on to become an All-Star in 2018, posting some of the best offensive numbers of his career, and played in the big leagues for the Milwaukee Brewers, Cincinnati Reds, and San Francisco Giants before hanging up his cleats after the 2019 season. The spotlight is now on you. Scooter Gennett, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me on. You are really good at intros. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you being on the podcast. So I want to take it back. Cincinnati. So you grew up a Cincinnati Reds fan, is what I've read. What are some of your earliest baseball memories?
Yeah, definitely a Reds fan. You're right about what you read. Some of my earliest memories are Riverfront Stadium.
Yep.
Before it was Synergy Field, it seemed like the next day it was Synergy Field, and I just remember Barry Larkin, Pokey Reese, all those guys. I remember I lived in Lebanon, which is outside of Cincinnati, maybe like 30 to 40 minutes, and I just remember the field being so bright, like the green, like the chalk, all the colors. Just fascinated me. I was hooked from the get-go. I remember opening day parades in Cincinnati and just always dreaming about playing. You're so young. You're looking at the world. It's that was it. It was the Reds, and man, to be able to play for them, obviously full circle. Skipping a lot of time there, but it's just it's a blessing and obviously a dream come true situation.
Who were those early influences? You talked about some of your, the players that you watched, like Barry Larkin and Pokey Reese, but who really got you into baseball, and what was kind of like the trajectory early on?
My dad definitely loved the game. My grandparents, my grandpa, really both grandparents liked the game, but my dad's side, his mom, my nana, and my papa, he worked so much, but he liked baseball too. But my nana would keep the scorecard, and like at every game, she was like old school baseball fan. Didn't play, obviously, but she loved the game, and I think maybe that's where my dad got a little bit of his baseball love, and then that was passed down to me through my father. And I just early on, it's going to sound crazy, but my dad didn't let me play T-ball. So I don't have like real T-ball memories, which kind of sucked because I probably would have dominated, right?
Right.
But I remember my first time playing organized baseball was my mom and dad coaching a team that my mom's work sponsored, Yellow Freight, and it was great, but it was like daddy ball, and my dad's like strict and my mom's loud and yelling, and it was a mess. But I could never forget it, and I'm so glad that they were my coaches my first year, my parents. So it was definitely something that didn't continue, but it was a unique way to get into organized baseball, and looking back, it brings smiles for sure.
So when did it become a reality that oh, maybe I'm on this path that I can do this as a career. Like I can actually play at the level professional baseball.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. I would say high school is when it kind of became real. Uh, but the hopes for a scholarship and kind of what is the goal and let's go for it. I would say when I was probably like 12, 13. It's like it'd be great to get down to Florida, move down from Lebanon to the Sarasota area and hop on a team and get a scholarship was the goal. But yet I didn't really have enough of that data and feedback of like, wow, I'm actually really good. Like I wasn't the best player on my team. Um, I was just in the middle and I was undersized. Always have been. I wasn't the monster 12-year-old that just never grew. I just never grew. So I was always used to kind of working really hard and being behind the eight ball, strength wise and speed and all that. But it all came together in high school. I started to realize, wow, like I'm hitting 400 as a freshman on varsity and just doing things that are clear, like this isn't normal. This is a positive, not normal. It's like there's something here. And just my dad being a baseball guy kept me pretty humble through a lot of like the times where I should have been probably on cloud nine. He was kind of reeling me back in early on, which I think really paid off later and in high school. And then I started getting letters from colleges and all those sorts of things. Agents at the time, they were called advisors. Now you have NIL and it's just all crazy. But I had advisors kind of knocking sophomore, junior year, and I started to get letters then. And then that's when it was like, okay, I'm not delusional, right? Like I'm good at this game and let's see where it takes me. And but yeah, I would say about sophomore year was when I kind of started to
Were
realize
were
it was
any of your
possible.
peers getting some of these same calls, or were you kind of a standout player?
At the high school, I went to Sarasota High. Our coach, Clyde Metcalf, he's got over 900, maybe 1,000 career wins
Oh,
as a
wow.
high school coach that we played on average like 30 games a year. So he he was there for a very long time and was very good at what he did. And historically, we've had a lot of first round picks and draft picks, but we won states my sophomore year, which at the time was 6A, was the biggest school. And we were very competitive. We played tournaments, the Sarasota Classic every year, drew like Archbishop McCarthy and all these teams from like the Miami area. Hosmer's team, I remember he was pitching. He pitched only against us that year, throwing 97. I think that was his junior year. And Devin Marrero was playing short. Yasmani Grandal catching. It was just you have like a big league team in high school, and it was just super competitive. We had 3 players make it to the big leagues on our high school team: me, Joey Turdosovich, and Casey Kelly. And Casey's still playing in Korea and having success pitching over there. Um, so no, I was not the only one, and it was good though. Like I think it's very healthy for younger kids to have somebody in front of them,
Hmm.
right? Because then when there isn't anybody in front, it's easy to get kind of content, right, and not continue to work through your sophomore, junior, senior year. I've seen a lot of kids that I've coached. They commit to a college and a year or two later they're injured and they don't have their scholarship anymore, and they're like, I didn't think that it was like that. Well, it is. And it's like anything in life. When you can't show up and do your job, it's kind of like what you're of no use in the most of the world. And it's a tough thing for a lot of people to grasp. And I'm lucky that I had that type of talent, and they were seniors when I was a junior. So when my senior year, I was definitely the best player on the team and took the leadership role, but also there's pressures that go with that, right? That I struggled with, but got enough of a taste then going into pro ball. And even then, I mean, not the best player. Like I never was that, the guy on the team that everybody's like, oh my gosh, at least I never felt that way.
How would you define your role in the teams that you played in, especially at the major league level?
And you ask everybody these tough questions?
Just whatever I think,
No, it's a good question because I think you'll get 100 different answers if you ask 100 people. I would say, to keep it short, I would like to be known as a guy that you would want out there over most in the league. Maybe not for 50 home runs or 450 on base percentage, but I know that I gave it 100%, and I don't never say never. Like I wasn't perfect, but I didn't allow my emotions offensively or whatever I was dealing with off the field. I wouldn't let it get to my defense and to that teammate role that I need to play that goes along with baseball and a lot of team sports. I just felt like that'd be very disrespectful. And I learned early on, it's not a good look when you strike out and then you go out, and I played short pretty much all the way till low A or high A. And you'll see guys mess up and then they throw the ball real hard in warm-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not a good throw, it could look bad. And the first baseman, I had one of my best friends, Zach Floyd, was my first baseman, and he wouldn't even attempt to catch the ball. He would just watch it go by because he knew I was being like an a-hole.
Right.
And it's just I'm glad I had that, and I'm glad I learned the things I did before pro ball, because I think you look at certain players, they're always like the man, and no one wants to really mess with them. No one wants to help them. Or, they're just, hey, they're the best. Why would we give them advice? And I think then that baseball hits them, life will hit you real hard. And yeah, I got through some of that early on. And I think that's to answer your question, that's what you're going to get from me. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to try to turn that hit into an out. And if not, if you're a pitcher, I'm your favorite. It's either going to be an out or an error. And I'm fine with that. I can live with either of those. That's how I played. I wasn't going to be perfect. I wasn't going to make a perfect throw every time, or I wasn't going to catch every ball. But if I knew it was a hit, I would try my best to, if I knew chances are it's a hit, I would try my best in control to try to get that person out. And a lot of times it'd make me look bad and I would get an error. And I'm like, great. Because I don't care about that. That's maybe something that hurt my wallet a little bit, but it didn't hurt the respect from my teammates, and that's really what I care most about.
I love that. I think, when the fans watched you, you were dependable. And I don't think anyone questioned your work ethic. You were definitely someone who put it, you left it all on the field, and you have a lot of fans because of that. I'm definitely one of your fans.
Thank you.
So looking back at that, I always like to ask, you get drafted, 2009, right? Yep. So you get drafted, and then eventually you make your debut in 2013 with the Brewers. What was that first, the first time you go out onto the field? You are a Major League Baseball player. What is that like? I mean, because every kid, who loves baseball, they dream of that. Hey, we got a friend here.
We got a cat, Allison.
Hey, Allison, hello there, making podcast debut. I love it.
That's right. She likes to do that sometimes.
That's totally okay with me. Yeah. So what was it like?
Keep going.
Yeah. What were your feelings, that first experience walking onto a Major League Baseball field?
Yeah, man. A lot of emotions. I think everyone, no matter if you're a first pick overall or a last pick or a no pick and you make it, I think it's a very similar wave of emotions. And really it's like you finally made it. So there's that. There's a sense of accomplishment and also peace. I
Mm,
think, like, you know, not that we could stop working, but that it was kind of worth it, right?
yeah.
Like it paid off, and I think I found some peace in that. But man, I mean, just so amazing. Like we're so blessed, and we're all so blessed to be able to play baseball and do what we love and get paid for it. And I think that's another piece that I felt was like, just man, I'm so blessed. And being a Christian, it's like, I am worthy, but at the time I'm like, why me? Why do I get this great feeling and no one, not many other people do. And I think others probably battle with that. And that took me a while to realize, hey, like I'm very blessed, and I'm working. I work hard, and I've gotten very lucky to not get hurt. I got hurt a little later in my career. But if it would have happened in 2010, 11, I wouldn't have been, at Miller Park making that debut. So there's a lot that goes into some of those emotions. But once that pitch went by, the first pitch, it was kind of like, all right, instantly your muscle memory, and then all the battles that you go through as a competitor, as anybody in like a performance based profession, I
Mm,
think goes through ups and downs. And a lot of times no one will probably know, like, if you mess up a little bit on the piano, or if I'm anxious, or I have this anxiety of whatever out on the field, it probably won't display and show itself to most people. But I think it's easy for us to be real hard on ourselves. And um man, yeah, I just it's really hard. It's really hard, but when you can persevere and you can get through those ups and downs, there's a sense of like, I belong here. So like,
hmm.
once that pitch goes by, once you're there, you're on the team, you have the uniform, you just feel like, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And at least that's how I felt. I actually, my first at bat, I capped a ball back to the pitcher. I got a pinch hit in like the seventh or something, and I capped a ball back to the pitcher, and I got a standing ovation. And
Hey, that feels good.
yeah, and I'm like, wow, these people are so nice in Milwaukee. I love these guys. Like, but I also was like, that's the last time they're gonna stand up and clap if I do that ever again.
Yeah, they're like, welcome to the big leagues. Okay, now,
Yeah, it was like that courtesy, like, all right, but they were all pissed.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's great.
I love how you talk about, so sports, and then also, my field, I'm a professional pianist. And in a way, we're part of the entertainment industry, but there's a lot that goes into our craft and refining it to get at such a high level
Yeah.
of where we're playing at. I'm playing piano at the top level, and you're playing in the major leagues, right?
Yep.
So there's so much that goes into it, and I think that's why people gravitate towards it, is because they see something that takes time and hard work, and that's impressive. It's inspiring, and I think having people like you who have some humility along the way too, that you're setting a good example for our younger generations and the people who want to strive, because it's not just maybe they don't want to become a major league baseball player, maybe they don't want to become a really good pianist, but they can carry those life skills into anything, wherever God's calling them to go. And I think it's important to have these role models. I think it's important for us to have these conversations to say, hey, they're real people. They're just like the rest of us. And, you know, they go through the same struggles to get to the point where they are. But you are capable of doing awesome, amazing things as well. So that's why I'm excited to talk with you and really kind of like hone in on the mindset of how you got to the point you are. You've really already talked about just hard work and grinding and giving 100%. Now that you're in the major leagues, you've played for three different teams. Can you kind of recap what was your experience with these different clubs and what were some of the things, important lessons that you learned along the way with these different cities?
Oh man. Well, I learned right away that when you're playing in smaller cities, I mean, they're not small cities, right? Milwaukee, Cincinnati, these are big cities, but in the scheme of salary and um, just the actual attention, media attention, and all that, I learned nobody really cares unless you like win,
Yeah.
and that's all that matters at the professional level. That you do your job, that you show up, and you're consistent and you're dependable. Um, and it took me a while to learn that. I think at least I did as a player. When you get drafted, you have this kind of way you think it's going to go,
Hmm.
and it just never goes typically the way that you think, right? And I think I am blessed to not always be that best player, right? Like we talked about before, because I think if I have a good core group of family and friends and people that have always been there for me. But um, I just remember like a guy like Bryce Harper being on ESPN, the magazine, at like 12 years old. Like I could not imagine that. And shame on me for ever like picking or, talking crap about him early on. Right. But like, I could not like I I respect him a lot more the older I get, looking back, right, at where I was socially and just maturity wise. And I'm very blessed to have been like not that household name type of player early in my career.
Hmm.
Um, because I don't know if I could have handled all that attention as that well. It's just an unknown for me. It didn't happen. So um, I didn't experience it, so I don't know how I would have responded. I would like to think that I would respond well, but I can't imagine being drafted by the Yankees and being the player that I was and being in that market. You're talking millions of followers on social media all of a sudden, and you're talking like just the floodgates open up. And that's probably the biggest thing that I learned through all the different organizations, or just the three that I played for. The two in the NL Central and smaller market teams were very similar, had their ways and the way they did things. But then I got a chance to play for the Giants for a short period of time,
Hmm.
but it was enough to see that the resources are there and they're like endless in a sense. And they're trying to do things at the cutting edge type approach, opposed to like more of a conservative approach. And um, if I could play for, I don't even know if I could pick an ideal team of where I would want to live and play for 10 years. If I had a 10-year big league career, I wouldn't even know, but I know the fan bases and I know the certain pressures with the medias
Hmm.
that certain places have certain challenges. And but they're all beautiful. I mean, they're all great cities. They're all amazing stadiums. I played in them all except Anaheim. I missed, and there was another one. Actually, that might be the only stadium I didn't play in. Uh, I didn't play in the old Yankee Stadium, but yeah, I don't know. That's such a tough question to answer like directly. I
Hmm.
think um, the best I could really do is just kind of think about the fan bases, and I really like St. Louis, like not the city, but the fan base.
That's fair.
Yeah, just the stadium location at the time wasn't very safe and stuff, but the fans seemed awesome. Like they didn't show up this year for a reason. This past year, they weren't happy with. who they're investing in, and I don't blame them. They respect like the game being played appropriately and all that good stuff. But yeah, I don't know if that answers any bit of your question, but
No, it gives me a good idea of, what you were noticing during these changes from club to club. I'm curious, with you being on the other side and us just being the fans, not seeing the day to day. What are some of the things that maybe surprised you or were hard, traveling as a Major League Baseball player day in and day out, or things that surprised you that you didn't expect being a Major League Baseball player?
oh man, yeah. I learned right away how to manage my body or tried to learn how. And then it took a while till I realized, the real importance of that routine
Hmm.
of, getting up when the sun's up. And the problem is in Major League Baseball, you're not done playing till 10 o'clock at night, so you have to manage your workload throughout the day. And at least for me, when I first got called up, I had so much just energy, just excitement, right? That adrenaline, just that positive, just he's vibing, right? He just got called up to the big leagues. And then that wears off. And then it's like, okay, now I'm feeling it.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, I just went 3 for 4, had a good game, diving plays, worn out, and then we have a day game. Now what? And I would play and I would give it my best, but I should have adjusted things looking back, and I should have made more adjustments, like maybe a lighter bat, maybe, but your pride and you're used to the same thing. So it's hard to introduce new things, but I wish I would have done a little bit more, but I think that's the biggest thing that I realized in the big leagues was just the output of how much we're doing as an everyday player. And then
Hmm.
maybe my ADHD or whatever energy I have, it's like, how do you calm down throughout the day and take it easy and slow, and then have enough energy, right, to let it loose for a few hours. I struggled with that for a while. But yeah, that's probably the hardest part, at least for me.
In 2017, you came back to Ohio, you came to Cincinnati, and I remember, so I was at where is it, the University of Cincinnati. I got my diploma back there.
I
And I remember they announced that you were on the Reds, and so you were in Cincinnati, and was like, oh, Scooter Gennett, my cousins all live in Milwaukee. They love him. I got to follow him on social media. And then you followed the piano guy back, and so I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" And so then I went to stadium. I had to see Scooter Gennett, and
actually,
I remember it was in batting practice. I decided to go to batting practice early, and you were shagging balls in the outfield. And you probably don't remember this at all because you've had so many interactions. But the Cubs were in town, and I remember
that's why you were there. That's why you were there.
yeah, well, we'll see. Sure, maybe the truth comes out. And so I was wearing a Chicago Cubs cap, and I remember a ball was hit to the fence, and you ran back, and you turned around like you were gonna toss it up, and then you saw me, and you're like, "Oh man, a Cubs fan," and you just chucked it back to the infield, and
Yes,
I was like, "What?
yes,
What?"
got him.
And
Sorry about that.
no, my cousins loved it because everyone they would call Scooter Gennett the Cubs killer because you just had a knack of when you were playing the Cubs, like something clicked for you. And I just remember when I was watching games and I was like, oh gosh, Scooter Gennett, we gotta face him now. But it was so funny. I was like, Scooter, the piano guy, you remember me? And you're like, oh yeah, how you doing, man? It was like quick change. It was so funny.
Oh,
And then
gee.
you
Yeah,
played.
I felt like I remember seeing you on the field, and I can't remember where it was, but now it makes sense.
Oh, when I should have been studying, I was probably at Great American Ballpark. I remember during finals week, I was, I think the Cubs were in town, and I was at all three games of the series. And hey, I got A's. I'm a doctor in music now, so it worked out. But I remember seeing you, and I remember you played catch with me, and from there you became a fan favorite. You became my favorite baseball player. Like I followed your career throughout. So this. I'm super giddy. I'm becoming the fan now. Talking to you, but
Heck yeah, dude.
it's so funny. Just coming full circle with this, and where was I going? Well, yeah, no. So that was my first interaction, and then so
That's so funny. That's
it was in
great.
2017 that. Well, actually, it was kind of funny because I was wearing a Cubs hat and I had Cincinnati Reds socks on. I don't know what I was doing, and one of your teammates saw that and he's like, "Oh, we got a cross dresser here." So, um, they're giving
Guy's
me a
confused. Guy is a little
yeah.
confused.
He was a little confused, but no, I was definitely a
Just need to
Reds.
make sure what you were doing it so you didn't get like, fully beat up or something. You could be like, hey, it's like wearing a little bit of green on St. Patrick's Day.
Exactly, just a little bit, you know. So no,
That's
I
smart man.
thank you. It's politics, right? Maybe I'll be a politician one day. But I've enjoyed watching your career, and 2017 was a really special year for you. And I think
Mhm.
you know where I'm going with this, with the 4 home run game.
Yep.
One, I think you were playing the Cardinals, right? And
Yes.
they were in town. Adam Wainwright was pitching. Was one of the 3 pitchers you hit the 4 home runs off of. Just what was going through your mind, like from each at bat? What were you thinking after after each at bat?
Oh man. I don't know, not many people know, but I was like 1 for 18 going into that game.
Mm-hmm.
And that hit was the night before the at bat, or the last at bat, the day before, and it was a jam shot single. So I was 1 for 18 with a jam shot, like real bad jam shot single. So I was going into the game not feeling good at
Mm-hmm.
all. I don't know if you golf, but it'd be like golfing 100 plus and then showing up the next day like, you're not going to feel great. You're going to
Right.
be like, I'm doing horrible, so I need to try something kind of new. So I didn't really try something new. I just kind of got to a point to where I was like, you know what? I'm sucking so bad that like, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what really got me out of a lot of slumps. Now that I think about it, because I just reach a point to where I'm like, you know what? I'm done trying. Like I'm done. I'm gonna let the baseball gods just do what they do, and I'm just gonna try to just hit the ball and keep it simple. And that was it. First at bat, I got jammed, got a base hit and an RBI. So the day was already like good. I was already contributed, to the team.
Yeah.
I checked an RBI box. I checked the single box, and I'm like, all right, my hand doesn't feel great, but at least I'm 2 for my last 2,
Yeah.
and I have some optimism going. And then also I played left field. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I wasn't. When you're playing second base, your mind's just buzzing because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much to do. I don't think a lot of people realize the second baseman, like if you have a really dumb one, it could really hurt you. I always backed up, always somewhere. So like playing left field, I was just like shagging BP,
Yeah.
it's great. So I wasn't really focused on anything but just thinking about my next at bat and the down times between pitches. And then my first home run against Adam, that was kind of like a good at bat. He just made a little bit of a mistake. And after that home run, I was feeling great. A grand slam. We're up like 6 runs already or something like that. 7 maybe. And it's the 3rd inning. Or maybe even the 2nd. I think it was the 3rd though. And from there it was obviously it just kept getting better and better. And I kept like the 2nd home run. I was like, wow, like I tattooed that ball. I didn't hit it very high, and it just kept going. I'm like, great. Like I normally don't do that. This is great. I'm just going to keep doing this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't worry about it. Go up there, just be nice and easy. And then the 3rd home run, After that, I started to really be like, okay, that's when I started to think like, wow, this is special. This is many people don't hit 3 home runs in a game that play for a very long time, and or power hitters. And I'm like, wow, this is great. Maybe I'll be in the starting lineup now, that kind of deal, and not be in left field. And I just knew though that with that home run, it was you could start hearing the chatters, and I did my first curtain call ever. Uh, Never had a curtain call before. And I could hear the fans talking about it. No one's hit four. And I'm like, I think Josh Hamilton did not too long ago. And I don't know if he was the last to do it, but there was a big gap between when I did it and the last person before that.
Were you trying to hit a home run that fourth time? That fourth at bat?
I mean, aren't we always trying to hit a home run? No, I was just trying to hit the ball like the same thing. I just did the same thing.
Mhm.
Like they kept throwing me fastballs, and I just kept doing the same thing. Like my hand-eye coordination is very superb,
Yeah.
right? To try to sound humble, and I'm working on that with communication. Trying to when I talk to my wife and my family, I'm trying to be very choose my words wisely because they matter. But no, yeah, I don't miss fastballs, right?
Mhm.
Like I just never been a problem for me ever since I was 2. I never missed something going straight. It's the ones in the dirt or over my head and change ups and 3-1 counts, things like that. I'll miss, but yeah, they kept challenging me, and I literally was just like, hit the ball, like just hit the ball on the sweet spot. Don't try to like actually drive the ball. Like, don't really try to put a lot of power into it. That was my mindset the whole game, and then I carried that through pretty much the rest of my career.
Mhm.
Not like it was like, oh, hallelujah moment. Like I knew like that's the way that I have success. It was just it takes time to get into that zone of like, in my case, not giving a crap anymore. I'm 1 for 18. But guys get in that zone, they don't hit 4 home runs because it's really hard. I mean, baseball elements and just the everything. And then also they get walked, they get pitched around, they get hit. You to hit 4 home runs and be like, yeah, I was on to something and I figured it all out. It seems like it was a little more than that. I think there was a lot more God at play and other things. But from my perspective, a a bacon cheeseburger before the game and being 1 for 18 and not giving a crap anymore really was what led to 4 home runs. So, oh, the
Very good.
cat.
You caught
The
it.
cat. I did catch it.
Well, I think it's amazing. I mean, you were hitting to both sides of the field because you had one, I think, Oppo, right? Out
Yep.
of the 4 home
Yeah, that was
runs.
the one where I was like, something's going on here. Something.
It just clicks, right? It's cool, and it's awesome how it all aligned. You were the 17th player to do it, and at that time, and I think 21 have done it total today.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a few.
And now your baseball, the baseball bat that you used is, it's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I was actually
Yep.
just there last July, and I saw it in
Yeah.
the case. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So I mean,
It's a pretty one too. It's got the original show logo that we had for our show bats, and I'm thinking about bringing them back to the big leagues. I just wanted to, and not to just throw this in there, not like it's a brand plug, but it's really true in my life. It's something I'm passionate about, making wood bats, maple bats in particular. We don't really do much ash. We'll make
Right.
them, but we can't like guarantee the quality as much as we can with the maple. And but yeah, I own Bat Company show bats. I've owned them since 2016 or 17, and we actually going through some legalities with a company I won't name right now that's trying to take our name and our trademark, but I might bring it back. And I've been hitting on my own for a few months.
Yeah.
My body is sore, to say the least. I'm 35, and I think I waited a little bit too long to start hitting again. But I'm stronger in other areas.
Yeah.
But I'm like weaker and like the speed but my power's there, my hand-eye's there. So I'm like maybe I should just keep building strength and like get back into it to be like ready if a team, who knows, maybe you see me in the playoffs or something. Like that'd be awesome.
You hear it here first, guys. Scooter, he's
Yeah,
making his
but
comeback.
I need my show bats. I need to get it the license by the MLB, and that's a whole thing. It's like 20 grand a year for everything. It's a lot. It's a lot. But the bat is in the Hall of Fame, and a funny story about that bat. I wanted to keep using it because I'm like, this thing's red hot, and it is red.
It is red.
Yes, it is a red bat. And then after that, they're like, you can't have that color red. And I'm like, why? Because I hit 4 home runs with it. And now you're looking at us on the Reds playing and you don't like it. Anyways, I ended up hitting another home run or 2 with it. I think the next series in LA. And then I just fell asleep in LA one night. I think it was the Sunday day game. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want this bat to be in the Hall of Fame in like 7 pieces, you know? So that's when I gave it to the guys that put the put the markings on it and stuff. And I gave it to them because I'm like, I just got a feeling. And that's when I gave it up. But it was after like a bat or 2. And I'm like, all right, let's get it to the Hall of Fame before it's in. And before it's just dust.
Right. Have you been to the Hall of Fame to see it?
I have not. I've saved that moment for. I don't know. I don't. I really haven't saved it for a particular time, but I think I'll know when that is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's my son and maybe a family trip. But I've waited this long, so I can wait a little bit longer.
That is so cool, though. I mean,
but I've heard amazing things about Cooperstown. I've never been. My family's from Akron, Canton, so I've been to the Football Hall of Fame a bunch, and I guess that's enough for me.
Well, I went for the first time. It was a father-son trip. We went to induction weekend this past July,
nice.
and
nice.
That's
that
like
would be cool.
That's the time you should go. If you ever had like teammates or something that get inducted, like it's so cool, and just because everyone from around the country is coming to this small town in the middle of upstate New York, and it's on this beautiful lake, and just. It's pure baseball. Like everyone's just buzzing about baseball, and the parade where they have the player parade, you see like, you see these grown men that are like 60, 70 years old, and they're standing there and they see like, I don't know, like Billy Williams, drive by on the float, or Johnny Bench, and they're just like freaking out. They're like a little kid again. And it's just fun. And especially going with my dad, that was a really, really cool memory.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to make it special. For sure, because I don't know, going there at a random time throughout the year where like, I don't know, maybe they still buzz about baseball there, but I feel like that's probably the buzziest it'll be, when they're hosting that event. I'm sure in that town, they probably take a lot of pride in it. And all those things are awesome. I love old time baseball people.
Yeah.
Like those are my people. Like you find me at a dive bar in the middle of nowhere talking to some old guy about like 90s, early 2000s baseball. Like I'm there, or even before that, because I feel like in another lifetime I was on the Reds before or watched the Big Red Machine play, because I've just heard so much about that era and that time from older folks that talk about the game. And it's like, all of them say the same thing. Like they were absolute rock stars forever, like for 5 years or 6 years, all the think about like in my life, like LeBron and his 3-peat, or I don't know if he got 3 in a row, but like Jordan when I was younger, and then LeBron, Tiger, Tom Brady. I mean, that's really it. Jeter a little bit, but I didn't really like the Yankees.
You're right.
There really was nothing else. But they seemed like they were absolute. I mean, meeting all of them too, like, oh my gosh, like how blessed am I? It's just amazing. And the more I go there, the more I want to like be involved in it. And I think I will, whether it's just showing up for fantasy camp or, one of those things, or coaching one day. I don't know, but there's something about that old school baseball kind of, I don't know, it just seems natural, right? Like our ancestors were doing it, and it just seems right. But then I see some of the ball now, the banana ball and stuff, and I'm like, I think it's great, like for players that can't maybe monetize and make money in Major League Baseball and pro baseball. I think there should be other avenues for sure. I just I just don't know if it's like, it seems a little much to me. I mean, they are killing it, and like that's all these kids talk about, which is great. Like it's good, but I'm also concerned at the same time. I'm like, are they gonna be dancing and stuff? Like I can't have them. I can't have them out here doing that. So
Well, and that answers or kind of directs me. I wanted to ask you with the changes to the game, and it's fun when I interview some of these older baseball players from different generations. It's a different game. It's evolved from the '60s to the '80s, '90s, and then your era.
'80s, '90s is awesome, but like the '60s, I think I would have been way better off. Like
Yeah.
my style of game, like would have been perfect. They would have been like, this guy's like the best player.
Yeah, you would have been
But
super scrappy, and yeah, I think you would have fit in well. That would have been a fun time to play.
I would have hit 370 and just like turf everywhere, just hitting bullets in the gaps.
Well, you would have been in the Baseball Hall of Fame,
Yeah, just on speed or whatever they were taking back in the day.
Yeah, under the table.
They're all on like the hippie drugs, and like it was amazing. You look at like from like I don't know if it was the depressions and they just didn't have food, but you look
The
at like
Babe had
that.
food.
Yeah, and even to like the early '90s, like these guys were all skinny, and I mean they were told like back in war days. Unfortunately, they were saying like speed was a good thing, and like all these amphetamines were great and good for you. And then, as we know, they're not. But they were all so skinny and like wearing the tightest pants. It's just funny how no one talks about it. To me, you look at those old videos and they all look like they're starving,
Yeah. Oh, I
but
know.
yet they're all healthy and playing and like hitting bombs. And it's just like, what is going on?
I think that's
But
hilarious. Yeah, I mean, the question is always like, if you had an older player, or if you had like a player now, what would happen if you put him in like the '50s or vice
I don't
versa?
know.
And
I have no idea what would happen.
yeah, I mean, who knows? Now with the changes to today's game, like like this year, they're introducing the automatic strike zone, right?
Yeah, that would help me for sure.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, smaller guys, heck yes, like Altuve type players for sure. Because any umpire, even if I was umpiring and I see this guy a mile away from the plate and he's 5 foot tall, and you throw one like even close to the outside corner, I'm calling it a strike because I'm just wanting this guy to move up to the plate. Like,
Yeah.
So I think. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, talked about the ABS, but that's the truth in my
Love it.
world. I'm a short guy, so I'm like super selfish with the edge we can get as a shorter person. Like I've never taken steroids because that's like the line for me is like natural or unnatural.
Right.
But like what is natural? Like, I mean, obviously an automated strike zone is not, but if it's going to be forced upon me, I am going to take full advantage. And if I was playing, I don't think too many I don't know. Maybe you got some guys in Chicago some starting pitchers that love your current pitchings that are watching this pod. But I am going to be on the plate, like on it, like as close as I can get, like Albert Bell in the late 90s, early 2000s. And wear shields everywhere, like the players all do now. I have been so far removed that I think I could do the helmet and wouldn't mess me up visually like it did when I played. So take full advantage with that. And then, get up on the plate. And then depending on the pitcher, so if they're Verlander type pitcher with a ride fastball and then a big 12-6 curveball, I am going to go in I guess Verlander. I mean, you want it in the back part of the box, right, for his 12-6. But I don't think he's locating that at the top part of the zone as much as he is that fastball. So I'd probably get on the plate for him because I don't want to catch that ride like back in the box. That's going to be another inch or two of that angle up, right? So I'm going to do whatever I can. Like if it's a sinker baller or a cutter guy, I might adjust where I am in the box. But I think if I get on the plate, and what do you do if you're an umpire when someone's right on the dish? You're probably gonna call that pitch a little farther in because you're wanting them to back up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Same with the pitcher's gonna be like, what is he doing now? It's either you hit me in the knee or it's a strike. There's not gonna be anything in between. And then that umpire's not gonna want to give. He's also gonna give farther off the plate if I'm on the plate. Right? He's going to want to give farther off the plate because I'm right on the dish. So I take that away because there's no umpire. I mean, every pitch is going to be inside. And if it's not, I'll take it and it's a ball. And I would love to have at bats against righties with that approach. Lefty, that's where the helmet comes into play.
I think I don't remember when, I think you were playing with you were playing with the Brewers, and I think you were ejected. What was it for arguing balls and strikes? Was that?
Yeah, I've done that a couple times.
Yeah. Do you think, if you had this, you would have kept your cool there and been like, dude,
100%.
Let's look at replay. Let's see this.
100%. I think out of the 2 times, I was only ejected twice, I think, in the big leagues. But I was right about one of them for sure. The other one, the square that they show it's not like the real K zone. It's kind of just the perimeter one that they leave on some places. It wasn't adjusted at all. To me, it was the pitch felt like it was in the dirt and it was like cross that line. I'm like, but I don't know. I think I would be tipping my cap to the pitcher a lot more. If that makes sense. Like I wouldn't have an out. Like the umpire's my out. What other option do you have when it's just some robot that doesn't mess up calling that pitch? Like it is exactly where it says it is, and all you can do is either, I suck and be embarrassed, or tip your cap and be like, great job, buddy. Like that was an amazing pitch. And they all are so very talented. These pitchers, they're amazing. But that's the last thing we want to do is give them credit, right? Like when you strike out.
You got to play all the angles.
It'd be weird. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about, how you can't oftentimes players embarrass the umpire to deal with their embarrassment, right?
And now you're just like, okay, let's see the tape. That's all you have to do. See the tape.
Yeah, now you're like, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I don't know. I think it's going to cause some issues in the clubhouse on some teams though, because if a guy's just super selfish and dumb, you already see it when they're like, I was safe, and they all get up like, do it, and then the coach is like, no, you weren't.
He was out by a mile, right? Yeah,
right. And what they're gonna that's on them. Like, I don't know. Are they, or is it on somebody in the dugout? Like, I hope it's, I hope they can verify it somehow.
They'll probably have, a way to get it back to the dugout and
If
stuff.
they're like, for me, with the whole, not to get into negative stuff, but like Astros stealing signs, banging trash cans, like
Yeah.
that one band, the band where they're like the homeless band, or like they have all,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
what I'm talking about? Like, it was a thing when I was younger. Like, they
yeah.
would have a show and it was like a full like drum, like barrels and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, when the Astros were on their band, um, they could uh they could relay that so quick,
Uh-huh.
like cheating so quick, that like I think if you're like, no, they only have a second or two and you're leaving it on the hitter, they're going to figure out a way to get that information to him regardless. And that's where the resources come in. Like, if you're on a team that doesn't have a big budget, then are they able to hire people to figure that out? And
Mm-hmm.
there's certain organizations that I know, just because I know that it would be an edge, that they know. Like, who am I to think I'm thinking of things no one else has ever thought of, right? So, I mean, in certain cases, but I didn't go to college. Didn't have the best GPA in the world. So I know for a fact there's people reading lips. There's people like, why wouldn't you? You
Well, when
know?
you have so much money involved with these ball clubs, it's like you want to get an edge
Yeah.
anywhere you can. And
Yep. And it's
I don't
not
blame them.
against the law. It's not against the law. It's
No.
not, it's kind of like stealing signs from second when you're on second. Like, if you don't change them, that's on you. And because I'm doing my homework, or because we have a certain relay sign to the hitter, like, that's all fine. Like, it's kind of like moving your seat back on the plane a little bit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people are like, no, 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 you can't do that. It's like, the seat is made to recline, first off. So, like, they wouldn't have made it that way as an option if people didn't use it,
Mm-hmm.
or people are just crazy. Like, baseball people take offense if they're getting beat, and they'll, again, like, we're blaming the umpire because we struck out most of the time, right? Just to avoid embarrassment. And we're really taking a lot of excuses away, if you think about it, from, like, I never thought I'd really admit it, but like, this technology stuff, I'm kind of liking it,
Yeah.
because it takes all that out, and if what you're gonna how bad are you gonna look? How embarrassing would it be to like fight with a robot?
Yeah, I think I know who's going to win that argument.
Right? Like yeah, it's not gonna look good, dude. And I think it's gonna be, I don't want to laugh at people, but like, it'll be funny. The first person that just loses their crap and like blames the machine. And I don't know. I see baseball though as surviving every storm that's been thrown its way.
Mm-hmm.
With the new leadership and just the new commissioner and the new, like, just this later kind of generation of baseball, I think is still searching. Honestly, I think it's really searching to. We're trying to find ways to grab people's attention and get them interested in the game. So, like, okay, Players Weekend, all the new colors, the City Connect jerseys, the trying to trim the time down in the game. Like, you see all the things, they're trying their best.
Right.
But I think the game of baseball itself is what people are into, not the colors, not, that's good for selling stuff at Dick's Sporting Goods that's licensed by MLB or whatever, but it doesn't put people in the stands.
No.
Your real baseball people, like the Cardinals fans, that's the example of like where the game is as a whole in the baseball world.
Mm-hmm.
You are, of course, they're going to have sellout crowds at Dodger Stadium, Yankee Stadium, and Chicago, Wrigley Field, but then you go across the way and you go see a White Sox game and you're like, holy shit, like, that is how people feel about baseball.
Yep.
And they're really like, well, it's just not enough for them. And, but I think that's okay. I think it's a phase golf used to suck. No one, no one liked golf, and
No.
then now all of a sudden everyone's a golfer.
Yeah. Oh, I love to play, but
It's nuts, right? Like it's all like waves of trends, and I think the more you try to force something on somebody or just, like you just got to let it be. And I think now it's like the players are almost like, whatever, dude. Like they're going to go on a strike or this for a robot zone, like, or whatever it might be. Like, I think baseball, they're just going to be like, let's just play baseball. Like, okay, it's a strike. It's a strike. Like, it's still a even playing field and the rules are still the same. So other than what they've already done, right? Like, which is a lot.
kind
But
of like
somehow,
the guy on second base, in
yeah,
a tied game. Like,
yeah, like that to me is I'm like, damn, this is not baseball. But
yeah.
if everyone's got to deal with it, then in the long run, it'll all be even. But we got to work through certain things. I think hopefully they renegotiate certain stuff. But at the end of the day, they got a thing every whatever it is, 4 8 years. The bargaining agreement or whatever. I don't know if we're up for a new one or not, but at the end of the day, we're the show. And I think the players know that now more than ever with technology, and they just know their worth more. I think everybody in every profession, you can just AI and be like, hourly in this city, in this zip code, what should I be making? And it's just, how do we all come together and kind of make appropriate, mature decisions? And I think we see the game kind of getting just a little, I don't know, a little bit too progressive with, like, we're trying to keep up with the Joneses rather than baseball's just baseball.
It's a good way to put it. I mean, what a time to be alive, though, to see all these
Yeah.
changes, and I mean,
Yep.
it's cool, it's exciting. So
And at least they're trying. They're trying. They're
exactly.
It's just they're not perfect. And I used to get real pissed, and I used to be very judgmental of why they're doing certain things. And I just know once the catching rule went into play, like once we actually that first domino went down, it's kind of like, okay, where do you stop? Because you're going to have these franchise players going down, and then we're going to try to avoid it, and then it is what it is. I mean, it's just, when is it going to be enough? When are we like, okay, let's save the big bat flips for when the moments matter. Because when you do that here, buddy, you got the next guy drilled, and then 2 games later, you guys are kind of in a scuffle in the dugout fighting because he got drilled, and then that led him into going 0 for 4 the next day because he was hurt or whatever it might be. It just could have been avoided, and we could just play the game with more respect on both sides. And I think we have to learn through failure sometimes. There's certain players, myself included, that I know regret some of the things that they've done on the field, whatever they've said or done, or you're in this heightened state of adrenaline and excitement, and you're young and you're an athlete. It's like can be a little crazy at times, and extreme. And you just grow older and you regret certain things, and you work through the embarrassment of it, right? And you're like, all right, whatever, I'm not perfect. And I just think that I don't want to give anybody, if I'm a good team player and I'm in a team sport, I don't want to give anybody any reason to say that I'm playing the game wrong or that I'm disrespecting them, because it's definitely going to affect me, but it could affect other people. And that's something you just don't do in battle. Like you're in a sense, you're a weak spot, and you could bring down the whole team. Like if we're in war, and we're dependent on one another. In training, they teach you things like, you do not do this and this and this and this, and you have to, like, your fundamentals, right? And if we're not focused on those things, and if we're not keeping our team as number one priority, we're not in the long run going to win. And I just see that's the main thing that I see these kids, these younger kids. I coach them from 12 to 18 years old and some post-grad kids now. Something that I do and kind of the time away from the family. And I just see them trying to emulate whoever they saw on TV. And I'm like, it's great, right? Try it out, if it's a mechanical thing, whatever. But just know that because they're a big league baseball player doesn't make what they do appropriate.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like keeping them like, hey, like, and then when they see their social media after the game, so like these kids now have access to everything, but they don't realize or they're not told like, hey, viewer discretion advised. This could be, like when you're watching a show, that could kind of make a kid, sway one way or the other or be influenced. Like that is what's happening through athletes every day. And I think it needs to be taken very serious because they could follow the bat flip or whatever happens on the field into the clubhouse interview, which is posted all within 20 minutes after the game. Now they're getting the players' response on messages, interactions with fans talking crap. Now these kids have this whole picture painted, and then guess what? The player, most of the time, the player is going to be viewed as like, hey, they're right. These fans are, or whatever it is. And these kids are like, wow, we can do that. Like, no, you do not hit balls 500 feet. You're not 6'8". You can't do that. They are going to get in trouble at some point, and then like a couple weeks later, they're fined, and like all that's minimized in the media, but these kids see all these things, and then there's no accountability, right? And I think it's concerning to say the least. So that's where I think we have to look at. They're already looking at, I don't know if you've heard about like the lawsuit with pitchers and pro coaches doing lessons in the off season. They're not allowed.
I missed that.
Oh yeah. They're not allowed to work with any kids, like over sophomores, I think in high school or something like that. So like a lot of them make good money doing lessons in the off season.
Sure.
Like this is a known thing. I'm not putting anybody on blast now, so you can share it, but hopefully it'll change. But it's all this lawsuit of these kids getting hurt. And MLB's kept it very, very, very quiet, and not really MLB, just the baseball world in general, because there's so much money to be made and all this performance training and all the throw harder stuff, and then blast the social media out, all the perfect game, this kid's throwing 100 and blah, blah, blah. Like it all existed before. It's just now we're training to throw harder rather than learning how to pitch. And it just is what it is. You got to throw hard to get an opportunity to pitch. So it's tough, but that's just what it is. It's tough to be a professional baseball player,
So if you're going to direct these parents, who, want to give their kids opportunities, and, maybe if they do have, an aptitude to be a really good baseball player, like what is your advice from what you've seen and in your coaching experience? Like if you had to just lay it out, be like, these are the things that you should do if you really want to do it, probably in the healthiest way and the best way moving forward.
DM me on my social media account. But I will accept some DMs that make sense, questions. But no, there's not one way to skin a cat.
Sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Allie, my cat right here. But I would say, from my experience as a player, and then what I've seen from other teammates and their experiences, also players that didn't make it far, and then also now being a coach and seeing just how crazy things are now, and putting it all in perspective, I think until your kid is a junior or senior in high school, nowadays especially, that it does not matter at all how good they are at 12 or 10 or 13 or 14 or 15. Literally, it does not matter. These scouts could care less. Like, get that out of your mind, you know? So now what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we show up? To get better, period. Just get better, play baseball, get at bats if you're a position player, get as many at bats as you can get, practice as much as you can. I mean, really, that's it. I think if you're in a northern state, it's harder. So you have to kind of squeeze all those at bats in a shorter time, but it's still possible. But there's a timing, you know, your timing as a hitter, it's not easy. So when it comes to baseball, if a parent is very serious that they have a kid that they see something very special in, getting them to an area, if possible, to be able to play all year round or close to it, if you're a position player.
Mm.
If you're a pitcher, it doesn't matter. You can live on the moon for all I care. just get bigger, stronger, faster, just real slow and steady. And then when you're 17 years old, start lighting up the gun. If you need to go to whatever coach it might be to go learn your velo stuff, go to them. I mean, at that point, you have no option.
Mm-hmm.
But learn yourself as a player and who am I? What am I good at? What am I not good at? You know, being very internal with, like, you're protecting this child. You're stewarding them to their junior, senior year in high school, and avoid all injuries at all costs. Like, these are all things that, when I look at it in the whole scheme of things, everyone knows the guy that was so good that never played. Like, we all know a guy that was the best player in Little League and then was MIA in high school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what happened? I don't know. All different things happen to veer people away from stuff, goals, aspirations. A lot of it's emotional. And that's where baseball is a tough sport, because you could do all the right things and still kind of lose, and still you could line out, you know, you could, other than this year with the ABS zone, you could throw a strike and the umpire could call it a ball,
Right.
you know, and if we don't work on that with our kids and we don't teach them about how to handle frustrations and failure and embarrassment and all of these things that suck, they have to be comfortable with those things. They have to be like bringing it on. Mm-hmm. Bring on the suck. That's the individual that is going to have the mental strength to be able to grind through 180 days with people that they might not like for a possibility of accomplishing a dream. And I just think of all the parents out there that they're such good parents. They're so good. So, I mean, everything, just very impressive. I respect the crap out of them. But then they can't turn off the switch, you know, when it comes to dropping their kid off and just watching them play. And it's the hardest thing to do, I'm sure. And I would just encourage them to really, for their kids' sake and their sake, stress levels. Like, this game, it can be really sucky. And when you think you got it all figured out, boom, you know, you're a week later, you're thinking about quitting. Like, it's that kind of game. So we just have to appreciate and enjoy the time that we do have that uniform, whether it's you're batting 140 out there, son, like, way to make the family proud, you know, or whatever it is. I think there's a shift happening, I think, as parents and the way we're raising our kids, but in a good way. But I think there's a balance of, like, you don't want to be too soft on them, you know, but you also want them to know that baseball isn't everything. So it's like finding that in between the two, there's some room to play. And it's like, what kind of kid do you have and what can they handle? And do you know how far you can push them? That's my job as a coach, but as a parent, do you have that relationship with them in sports? Because if not, then maybe don't push them in it. Be their dad and stay their dad, and don't be their coach. But if you have always been their coach, now it's, and I'm constantly like trying to navigate the parents, and it's not easy being a high school coach. I don't want to do it. I'm not a high school head baseball coach, but there's an art to it. And there's an art to parenting, and there's an art to everything. And I think my priority in 10 years, my son's in high school, whatever sport he's playing, I want him to give it all he has, obviously. And we're trying to win at all costs. We're Christians, but it doesn't mean we're going to take it easy on these guys.
Right.
We'll break bread with them and pray with them after the game, not during the game, and that type of mindset, but also like they got to get confidence. These kids are, man, I mean, how fragile was I, right? Looking back, and it's like, thank God I took some of the parents being mean to me, like as like fuel rather than like folding, like, because people are mean. I mean, they see talent that they don't have, or they see an opportunity that you're given that they don't have, and they're going to try to pull you down with them. And kids need to learn that too. And I don't know how you teach them without them kind of going through it on their own, but there's something to that too. And I think that's kind of the secret sauce, right? You never really know how someone's going to respond until they're put into some really cruddy situations,
No, I think that's really great advice, and it carries over into different fields, especially the music field, because, I was practicing in high school. I was practicing anywhere from like 4 or 5 hours to 8 hours, if I had competitions, and my peers, some of them had parents who were just, pounding into them like constantly. They, making like piano became their life. And, luckily I had really supportive parents, and they encouraged me to pursue it at a very high level and give it 100%. But they also realized, like, let this kid be a kid and enjoy it. And then, when you get older, then you can really narrow your focus and hone in on it and make it a profession. So I think that was really wise advice. The last thing I'd like to touch on is post-baseball, and what are you doing now? What things do you enjoy? What is Scooter Gennett doing now that he's not in the big leagues?
Watching my cat crawl around the house. Man, I do so much. And I also enjoy doing very little at times. I think my purpose now, like getting up every day, being a father, a husband, those are priorities, obviously. Beyond like a duty, right? Like at first it's like, oh, it's my duty. Like, no, I enjoy, my family and kids. And that's why I coach. I'm looking forward to my son kind of joining me on that endeavor, and then seeing like, oh, well, dad coaches these bigger kids, and they, it's like hopefully he'll listen more to me.
Good luck.
Yeah, he's 4. Oh man, he's hilarious. But in the time away from them, I think my purpose is to network and connect people in my community here, but also former teammates. I mean, I've met, and my contacts on my phone are amazing. And I look back and I'm like, gosh, like, why didn't I take advantage of some of these contacts when I was with them or around them? And I just focus on baseball. And also I haven't had any alcohol for going on 10 months now. So
nice. Congrats.
Yeah, it's great. I feel great. Hence trying to come back and play. I wasn't a crazy drinker, but I was drinking enough beers, and, I I'm clear, really, really clear headed now and seeking out my purpose, right? Especially as a Christian, and like, why have I been blessed with so many amazing things? Like, what do I still need to do? Because obviously there's something more than baseball. There's something more that, I think saying hi and being a good person to people every day is very important. Um, and being mannerly and chivalry and all that is great, but it wasn't like enough. Like, I felt like I wasn't, like, I could do something better, like maybe use my brain more and be creative. So now I find myself networking in a way that isn't obviously to profit anything in my business adventures, like the back company. And uh, with my friend, we opened up a baseball academy, which I think right now my son's the only player, but it's a work in progress. But we're trying to do it right. But I think it's kind of like that game 6 Degrees from Kevin Bacon or whatever they call it, where like I'm really like it's fun for me. Like, I'm like, how can I? So whenever there's an issue, like right now I'm working on batting cages at Sarasota Babe Ruth League that I volunteer coach out there. And I'm like, how, instead of me writing a check right now, which would be really easy, but like I don't want to do, how can I? Because I just know that that's not, like, I need to fine tune and hone in like the skill. And I'm pretty relentless, and like not relentless is negative, like resilient would be better.
Sure.
It sounds way better. When it comes to helping other people and my family, right? But like we're good, and I've been so blessed to not blow all my money I made. But how can I, like, it gets me going, like I get going for other people now because we're good and very blessed. So I'm really resilient. I'm like, no, like we're going to do this. We're going to figure this out. This person has money. They told me they want to help. They're not texting me anymore. I'm going to send them a text and be like, hey, just thinking about you. What's going on? Like, I'm going to hold you account. Like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help or solve whatever I put my mind to. So it's pretty fun. I'm very early in it, but I have a couple awesome people with FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and our local region here. Todd, who's in charge of it, is awesome, and I'm working with him and a lady, Lisa, with Take Stock in Children, and a couple others that are like rock stars, right? So I'm like, I like these people. I support them. Who do I introduce them to that they haven't probably met, or, that are rock stars themselves? So I'm like, you got Thunder by the Bay, which is like a Harley Davidson huge get together every year in Tampa. And then you have FCA over here. And it's like, how are we? There's a way, right? Like, and it's so fun and it's so interesting. People are amazing. I'm meeting so many awesome people just in my community. It's like very encouraging. And we're doing great stuff. And I think just supporting them, that's what I want to do. I want to support and learn and keep growing those contacts to where maybe one day we can blueprint something we're doing and I could send it off to the union or just the players in general to send off, like with AI and emails now, like with the people with the Chamber of Commerce and local legislation and mayors and all, like I could get all those emails and compile it and then send it to a player to be like, send to your manager or agent and have them do this event for you with all these local people. And like, that would be great for me. I'd be like, I'd feel so honored to be able to help somebody out, do something like that, especially players. Cause we want to help, but we're also taught like to avoid a lot of people take advantage of you, that kind of thing. So I've battled with a lot of those thoughts and I've already been there. So I want to like be that guy for other players, be like, dude, here's a list of the ones I contribute to. Like, but what's in your heart? Like, that's what I want to try to help, because it took me years to be able to kind of get it out. And I wasted a lot of time. I really did. And I wish I didn't. So that's really what I'm honing in on now. I have some side business ventures that are fun and things I'm passionate about, like the wood bat company, and farming and ranching. Like, I have some cattle and some chickens. I started out with 3. Now I'm incubating them. And I had a coyote kill about 30 the other night.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, I've been practicing too much that I haven't been locked in on my birds. But yeah, I had over like 100 chickens at one point.
Oh, my gosh.
Went through the whole homestead kick, and we're still here. We're still doing it. I am a master of none, but I do quite a bit.
Man, that's awesome. And, I think it's a really good life skill, honing in on those network skills, and
Uh-huh.
you're seeing, what people can bring to the table and bringing them together. And, like with AI and technology and everything, I think the sky's the
Yeah.
limit. And so when you take advantage of it, like, I think that's awesome. And I
There's
think
a
you're,
lot of good people out there, man, and it's finding the local, like, rock stars, like I said,
hmm
that you could be like, hey, I have this guy I want to connect you with. Like, rather than, I think the automatic thing is like, just write a check. And it's like, okay, yeah, but maybe I can create more value, or like some of my talents I have could add even more value than that check. And it'll probably make me feel a lot better about it, you know?
Well,
Um,
I think we're called, as Christians, and then just in general, we're supposed to have that community and build
mhm,
together, and that should be
right.
the motive. And it sounds like you're doing that. What I think's awesome,
Trying. I'm
yeah,
trying.
you're well, it sounds pretty good right now. And what I've seen through this conversation and you being so gracious with your time today is you're a role model on the field, working hard, but you're also a role model off the field. And so, thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for being that for so many people. We need people like you, and I'm encouraged from what you're saying of building that community and seeing the value in other people and what they have to offer, because that's huge. That's
Yeah,
huge.
everyone. I did a campaign when I played called the Say Hello campaign, and it was kind of before Simone Biles and all that.
hmm
So, like, mental health wasn't really talked about, but I had been through enough on my end and just with family, and like, it's definitely a real thing. Obviously, now we all know, and with all the pills, and I mean, it's just the Western medicine is, we're starting to really see kind of some mistakes we made. And the Say Hello campaign was very simple. It was just like, say hello to somebody because you might make their day. And
hmm
like, that's it. That's how I was raised by my mom and dad. And be nice, be courteous, given an opportunity that's most don't have, like, be grateful, just very uh just standard ways of living. But now, what do we do? I don't have to work, so I better get creative and do something, because I'm not going to feel good. I ultimately love helping others because it's good for me too. If that makes sense. Like, me playing the way I played helped me go to sleep that night. You know, and at the end of the day, I sucked sometimes. But it's getting used to the suck, and it's okay. It's going out. I'm not going to be perfect talking to kids. I'm not going to be perfect meeting new people, networking. But the fact that we're trying, and the fact that we're learning, ultimately we're going to get to some a better place. And I think the next time you have me on, I'll have some more answers on all the good things I'm doing. I just don't. I've learned, especially recently, not to say too many things too early, because times are tough and people are busy and doing a lot of things. And I think people, especially the good ones out there with the Charlie Kirk stuff, like, we were stretched pretty thin there for a while. And there's a lot of people to help out there, and there is hope. It's just we need to keep at it. And thank you for having me on and let me share some of my story, and talked about some things I haven't really talked about, so that's always fun.
No, I love your outlook, and like I said, I appreciate your time. And we are coming to the end of the podcast, and I do this with all of my guests. We do a 1-minute rapid fire round of questions to end it. So I'm gonna pull up my list of questions. I have my timer ready. Sir, this might be the hardest part of the interview. Are you ready for it?
I am ready. I just want to make sure my phone is not going to die, and I don't think it is.
Okay, here we go. Okay, toughest pitcher you ever faced?
Mike Leake.
Okay. Favorite ballpark to play in?
None.
Politician. Okay, which
Oh.
which teammate made you laugh the most in the clubhouse?
Carlos Gomez.
Best pitcher, or sorry, excuse me, if you weren't playing baseball, what career would you have pursued?
Art.
What was your go-to post-game meal?
Steak.
Favorite baseball player growing up?
Barry Larkin.
What's something about Scooter Gennett fans might be surprised to learn?
I have had over 100 chickens.
I love it. And one piece of advice that stuck with you.
Dream big.
Yeah, I love it. Amen. Man, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for
Dude, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for imparting so much wisdom. It's fun to catch up, especially, being a kid in Cincinnati and seeing you play and now coming full circle, and you're doing a lot of awesome things. So just thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you.
You're very welcome, and I hope you have some good Skyline chili for me.
Yes.
I'm craving it right now.
Oh man, now I am. Maybe that's what I'm gonna have to have for dinner.
There
I
you
love
go.
it.
Tell everybody in Chicago about it when you're over there next.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, Scooter Gennett, the Cubs killer.
Boy,
love it.
thanks again for having me on, brother.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to the Sheckler Spotlight with your host, Harrison Sheckler. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the show with a friend. New conversations drop regularly, so stay tuned. And thanks again for listening and being a part of the journey. Follow Harrison Sheckler on social media and visit harrisonsheckler.com to learn more.